Good evening, everybody. Meeting after a gap of 2-3 days. When we are discussing regarding the practical pharmaceutical part from the Organon of Medicine by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, and we have learned the actions of homeopathic remedies in the aphorism number 253 along with its footnote. Whether our remedy is acting or not acting, whether it is we are on right path or wrong path, every aspect Dr. Samuel Hahnemann have tried to explain over there. Basically, when we give the medicine, whether it is acute case or chronic case, if after giving the remedy, in acute case, if generality starts improving, then your remedy is definitely working properly. We can get this immediately when we are dealing with acutes, and we can immediately understand whether we are on right path or not. But things are rather different when we we prescribe for the chronic. In the chronic, it never happens so fast. We have to wait. We have to look after that whether original symptoms are increasing, whether there are any new symptoms which are developing, everything which we have to take into consideration. And all those things matters a lot. So both things are very much necessary to understand, and that's what he has explained in the aphorism number 253. And he gives much more hints regarding the practical application of understanding the actions of remedy. Uh, in 254 also, he gives one thing, and that's what we have to learn. So we'll start with the aphorism number 254. Let us see what he says. The other new or increased symptoms, or on the contrary, the diminution of original ones without any addition of the new ones, will soon dispel all doubts from the mind of the attentively observing and investigating practitioner with regard to the aggravation or amelioration. Though there are among patients persons who are either incapable of giving an account of this amelioration or aggravation or are unwilling to confess it. See, this is one more possibility which Dr. Samuel Hahnemann is explaining. If you are very accurately observing homeopathic physician, you can find it out whether your remedy is acting or not just on the behavior of the patient. If you are attentive enough, you can see and watch the face of the person, and immediately you can look at whether person is in good condition or not. The way he approaches inside your clinic after giving the remedy after 10 or 15 days back, 15 days after, immediately you can catch, yes, whether your remedy is working or not. His face is a very important entity. The countenance is a very important entity which catches whether your remedy is worked or not. And that's why it is very easy for a homeopathic physician who is accurately observed. Many times it happens that patient doesn't understand or patient doesn't have capacity to understand whether his complaints are increasing or decreasing or they are in status quo. And he many times he explains that doctor, I could not understand what is happening. You see better way. They they never tells you exactly, and such types of patients are rather more in your opinion. Basically, when you practice more at the village level, taluka level, such types of things which are quite common because people are not known about the all those details, and they are very casual in approach. They don't know that this is important from homeopathic point of view, and that's why they are always casual in approach. They always talks like that. Doctor हे बघा असं वाटतं बुवा. This is how it happens. But they are not able to explain whether it is increased, whether it is decreased, whether it is status quo. They are not in that specific state. And when such a thing happens, it depends ultimately on the physician's observation. And physician can note whether it is increasing. If original symptoms are increased, it indicates homeopathic aggravation. If the new symptoms which are out after giving the remedy keeping original as it is, it indicates the medicinal aggravation over there. Where sometimes it happens, the original symptom starts disappearing and patient is improving. It indicates that yes, your remedy has acted very perfectly. So there are many pros and cons which you have to take into consideration when you are dealing with the patient. And here, with the patient's understanding, at the same time, the physician's observation plays a very vital role. So look toward the patient, just see, watch him, and ask, how do you feel? How are you? And when patient starts narrating, what he narrates and the way he narrates explains you, yes, your remedy is working or not. That's very important thing which he is explaining over there. So this is one important thing which he has mentioned over there, that many a times patient is not in condition to tell you whether it is aggression or amelioration or it is as it is, or he is not willing to confess, then it is physician who has to understand it properly. So physician's observation plays very vital role in understanding the follower. Then he turns towards 255. See, all these are the practical hints which he is explaining. He is explaining exactly what happens in practice, and those we have to get. Now he says one more another possibility. But even with such individuals, we may convince ourselves on this point by going with them through all the symptoms enumerated in our notes of the disease one by one and finding that they complain of no new unusual symptoms in addition to these and that none of the old symptoms are worse. Many times it happens, patient comes to you, you ask, how are you? He says that, doctor, I don't feel there is any change. Don't immediately go to the conclusion that patient is not improving. Then do one thing. Open the first page of your case paper where chief complaints have been written. Ask one by one, yes, how is your headache? Whatever it may be, how is your headache? How is your pain? Every complaint in detail. And then it happens many a time that all symptoms they are already ameliorated and still patient says that he is not feeling well. Because he feels that if you give more stronger medicine, it will disappear permanently. That was his thought. And many times patients do that. So that's why it is so much necessary to ask exactly one by one by one symptom and ask about it, whether it is increasing, whether it is decreasing, whether it is as it is. And this is the best way. In the follow-ups, this is the best method to catch the things. So I used to do that many times. What happens many times, my student they take the follow-up and they write it down that patient is not feeling well. Then this is my habit, going through each and every symptom. I used to ask them, yes, what is number one symptom? Yes, how this is. Second, how this is. And then at the end, you can get exactly that whether patient is improving or not improving, whether there is any addition of the symptom which was not there. All those things matters a lot. So this is one part which is explaining over there. And then what he says, if this be the case, and if an improvement in the disposition and mind have already been observed, the medicine must have effected positive diminution of the disease. Or if sufficient time have not yet elapsed for this, it will still effective. Many times it happens that you start observing in patient that his generalities are improving. He says that doctor, there is no change in pain. But he says, doctor, once I have started taking medicine, I'm feeling much better. Last time I was in confused state. Now I'm relaxed. Yesterday I have taken one follow. She was a branch manager of Bank of Baroda from one Nasi near Nasi, and she's a young lady divorcee and had suffered from a lot of depression and then physical features, all those things. So I started treatment nearly about 4 months back, and that was the follow. And when I asked about it, and she said, Doctor, pain is much better, but still I expect more than that. But what I want to tell you that I'm feeling so relaxed, which was not there in last 4 months back. Now I don't have any stress. Now I don't feel that I'm alone. Now there is no tension in my mind. I'm freely enjoying my life. See, your remedy is acting. Your remedy is very perfect and it is doing its own work. Many a times the pathologies never regress immediately. It takes some time. And that you have to tell the patient, yes, another 2 3 months will be there required to control your all the physical features. Till that period, you have to wait. You should not get panic. This counseling is very much necessary, and you have to explain it in confidence, with confident way, so that patient can listen to you, and that makes the difference. So this is one important thing which he is explaining, that within few days, all those features will definitely disappear if your remedy has acted at his mental level or at the level of his disposition. Last sentence of this aphorism, which where he explains, if now the improvement delayed too long in making its appearance, this depends either on some error of conduct on the part of patient or on the other interfering circumstances. If your remedy is perfect and still it is not showing its full results, then you have to find it out exactly that why it is not happening. Then you have to find it out whether there is any maintaining cause which is persistent. Then you have to find it out whether there is any habit of the patient making the disturbance in the action of medicine. It happens many a time. Patients who are tobacco tincture, there are many patients who used to use deodorants. There are many patients who used to keep those strong smelling balls in the clothes, and all those things matters a lot. That action of the remedy hampers, and that's why you have to look towards those small elements which are causing the damage to the patient. So these are the things which you have to take into consideration when dealing with the patient, and then it is possible, yes, to find it out exactly why your remedy is not working so properly. So see, he is explaining all the possibilities which happens in day-to-day practice when you deal with the follow-ups, because follow-ups are very important. To prescribe, and in the first instance, it's quite easy. The follow-ups are very important, and where you have to spend some time and understand exactly what is happening with the patient. If you are able to catch that, then it is quite possible to find it out exactly the action of medicine, and then to decide whether to repeat, whether not to repeat, how to go ahead, all those things. So 255, he explains exactly that what how the patient presents and what one should do. We'll finish one more aphorism in today's session, that is 256. He is explaining every possibility. Another possibility, what is it? On the other hand, if the patient mentions the occurrence of some fresh accidents and the symptoms of importance, signs that medicine chosen has not been strictly homeopathic, even though he should good naturally assure us that he feels better, as is not infrequently the case in physical patients with lung abscess, we must not believe this assurance, but regard his state and as aggravated as it will soon be perfectly apparent it is. This is another possibility with which patient presents to us. You ask the patient, how do you feel? And patient says, Doctor, take it, it's okay. And when you observe clinically, you observe that his problem is increasing. For just our assurance, the patient is talking in such manner. And this is one more possibility which happens many a times. Patient feels how to tell the doctor that your remedy is not working if patient is conscientious enough. So such types of personalities never answers correctly, and that tells you still better. But you have to watch. You should be very watchful and careful. You have to find it out whether your remedy is definitely working or not, whether it is improving at the level of generals or not. All those things matter. And that's why taking a follow is a big task in homeopathy. If you definitely give importance to your follow-ups, then you can catch many things, and then the right medicine. Whether if you should have chosen, then you can decide whether to remain with the same, whether to go ahead with the high potency, whether to stop the medicine, whether to change the medicine. All those things depends upon it, and that's why these are the aphorisms which explains about how to take the follow, what one should look for, where one should look for, how much importance the generalities have or carry. All those things matters a lot, and we have to take into consideration all those details from the patient. So today we have finished these three important aphorism where he further explains about the actions of the remedy and which are very essential in order to take a follow and prescribe in the follow. So we'll stop over here and tomorrow we'll continue with the next aphorism. So thank you being there, everyone. If you have any query, we can have a discussion. Otherwise, we'll conclude. Any question? So shall I conclude? Okay. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time with further aphorisms where these are most practical aphorisms. Don't miss those aphorisms because these aphorisms gives you detailed understanding about the follow-ups. So these are very useful in day-to-day practice. Thank you. Any query?